Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to drain the beast. Now it just has its initial water in there, and it needs to, because when I first connected the rads, I had pre-washed them 6 months prior when I got them, and they had already gone bad. Water will mildew very, very quickly. Mold and mildew, if you look at the EPA, like particularly around houses and things, environmental people will make a big deal out of it. You have to get it tested, all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, when it dries, it dies. So if you have a leak in your roof or whatever in your house, plumbing, whatever, fix the leak, you fix the problem. You don't necessarily have to kill off all the spores, because quite honestly, they're in the air. They're just like the dust, and it's hard to get rid of. So your system's going to mold up. And especially if you warm it up and give it that nice environment for it to live for. Assumingly you have a fairly anaerobic environment, if it's a closed loop. Now there are a lot of facultative anaerobic bacteria, that like slime bacteria, that can build up in your system, whatever. So you want to clean it, you want to have your disinfectant, your stabilizer in the water, and you want to have something for the redux operations, at the steel or copper, aluminum, whatever you have in your system. You want to make sure that you have something to kind of inhibit that rusting, oxidizing, whatever you might want to call it, on the metals. So you have to treat it, but to just fire it up to see if you have a leak, to get it running, to finish up other parts of it, that's fine. Now we're going to go in here and drain this, and we're going to see just if I was successful at designing a good draining process for it. Are you ready? Let's go. Well, here we are. We've got the beast in the kitchen, but it's not over the sink or anything like that, because we're going to catch the water. I'll show you how I did that. First, I need to tell you, this is sitting on a cart that I bought. It's not a slicer cart, but I bought it to be a slicer cart to use with one of my slicers. And I ordered it special, cut to size, exactly the size, so it fits right across to the island table. And of course, they didn't do that. Well, we have our wide angle lens on, and as we see, we're actually running downhill because we got the end on this side set up on that bread pan right there. And it does get it a little bit high. If we were to take the bread pan out, it runs a little bit low this way. And we want to make sure it drains well to the center. Now, as you see, you got a bucket to catch the water as we drain it. We've got a little bit of a static cling film there over that receptacle so that we don't get it on, if we splash a little bit, we don't get it on the receptacle or in the receptacle. Underneath it, it's propped up by a bucket and some bread baskets underneath that aluminum sheet pan, full sheet pan. And the sheet pan has on it 2 gallons of water, actually 1.5 gallons of water, because we have 1 gallon in the system. Now we'll catch that, and as you see, the ratio, like a teeter-totter, we got a lot more on the water end than the bucket end. So we shouldn't tip, but we've got something propped up underneath it, and even then it's going to roll down the edge. There's nothing in the water that's not non-toxic, so it's all non-toxic water. It's not going to hurt anything get on that sheet pan, and it can't be washed. We just want to cut down the distance between where we're draining from and the bucket. In fact, we'll probably hold the bucket up as we get it loose, let the drain plug fall in and go. Now, let's take a look at this. All right, well, step one, where I had this envisioned, this is my very first time doing it. We pull out our lint screen, our dust screen, and we should be able to, although I am right-handed, pull this piece out, giving us our nice little drain hole that somebody had in mind when they did this. Now, I have 2 drain plugs just like this on the other side of the rad, and we're going to take them out to let both the left and the right sides of the radiator drain down, and of course it should siphon out the top. Now what I'm going to do, because I have my burp it hole right there with a plug, all right, you see that? We use that when we burp the air out of it. We're going to take that loose, and that will let air get into the system. Now it's not going to have water drain out the bottom, but it will let water drain out from wherever's higher than it, will drain down through the drain plugs when we let them loose. Well, we have the front one, or the one towards the glass where we look inside. We got it draining, and we'll take the other one loose as soon as it stops running. Now they will, for the most part, drain fairly evenly, but yet it's still probably going to have a little bit left on the far side from them. Now I certainly hope that I don't see these internet producers or these content providers steal my high-tech answer for draining a system. Of course, you get to put a valve in it, maybe bring it this way, but anyway, we have a little, can you see that little hole there right there? Now I'm going to pull the pump because I'm not sure that when I was dumping water in here, I didn't see something swirling around that shouldn't have been there. It's like, what the heck? How did you even get in there? It's a little strip of something, so I'm going to pull that off and look at it. But we're going to drain it out of the pump, which doesn't drain because it's in the bottom of the big rad, which we can push a little air through there and try to get some out of it. But it's going to be better to disconnect those two lines. We're going to disconnect them here and rotate them down so they dump some water down there into our turkey foil. Hey, do you have turkey foil where you live? Turkey foil is what we would call that extra heavy duty, you know, the big sheet stuff. Anyway, it's just tin foil, aluminum foil, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get her draining. Now, how many of you, when you saw this in an earlier video, said, well, Del, you sure have a lot of that ugly black and red wire hanging down going to that Molex connector? Yeah, you got to plan ahead, fellas. Now, if you're not familiar with a D5 pump, you know, this is pretty well much it. You saw where I wrapped it in a opaque film to keep the light off, to keep the microbiological growth in there so that I don't develop MIC, which is microbiologically influenced corrosion. You know, remember I said something about the slime bacteria, iron bacteria, that kind of stuff. This is brass, I'm sure, that is cleared over with a nickel plating, some kind of nickel plating, but it's you know, probably not the greatest quality in the world. It's consumer grade. But anyway, there we have it. We got her down. Inside of a D5 pump, we have this little pouch down here at the bottom where the guy lives. This is a little pump guy in there. What's that blue on there? I'll have to see if that's a quality mark, probably washed off. Looks like it is. Looks like it's a hallmark of some sort. All right, so, and there's another one of some sort. But anyway, we've just been running this for a couple of days. Now we have to look in here and see if I was, in fact, imagining seeing a little strip of something black come out of the piping. I swear, what is that? There it is. There's something. How about that? So the old guy is blind as a bat, but we did see that. So now I got to take my little tweezers and pull that out. Now you see how small that little hole is, right? It's not big enough to get a connector through there because because you can see where the top piece of trim comes across. I could have made it bigger. I just decided not to because I didn't want to get into this right here. So how do you get one of these drain plugs out of there? Since they're brass and they're not magnetic or anything, right? See, there are three, two on the bottom, one on the top. Well, something else I invented was a piece of duct tape. Just get it loose, sitting in the threads, and just take your little piece of duct tape there and sticky tape it to the dry top and pull it, lifts right out. What a genius! What a genius! So be honest, what do you think? I added an extra little piece here because I had one, so that when I drain the side, I can get it where it runs. Come on, get out of focus. There we go. Where it'll drain over, and maybe it won't be quite such a mess. What do you think? What do you think? I like the symmetry, but that might work pretty good. And now that we're drained, we'll just put our little plugs back in. Now I'm going to leave this particular plate out because we don't need it for the next 48 hours or so because we've got to put our cleaning solution in. Remember, at the opening of this video, I said that I had washed out the rads, but in the 6 months waiting for the Core Ultra and the whole Intel thing to sort out, I had them just sitting in the can here, sitting in the case, and got that done. But when I first went to open them up, I could definitely smell the mildew. So we've run some water for a couple of days, tested the system. It looks like it's going to be fine. Now we're going to put our clean out material in there to sanitize it. We'll drain that again, so we're not going to move the system from its spot. We'll move it back on the island and just turn it on and let it run for about 48 hours so the pump is running and getting all those air bubbles and stuff worked out. Now hopefully I won't fill this too fast and it won't overflow too much, but it's just probably going to trap some air and make a little bit of a watery mess as it runs around the radiator. Also, the lines will have air in them, so the first time I turn it on, it's going to drink a big bunch of water and I have to be prepared to squirt the pump. Now we'll pre-fill the last stage. And pretty quickly, it's going to drink this dry. I suspect, let me go ahead and put my hose in there. Well, and just like that, we've got her drinking the big drink. How about that? It's making a lot of noise. I don't know if you can hear it. We'll watch the water level here. Let me put the mic close to that vertical rad. All right, let me just burp it a little bit. Did you hear that quieting down? I got a little bit of water. Give it a little more time to get the air bubbles to migrate back around. We'll burp it again. If you like this content, please go to calldeltosell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you. Thank you. All right, we've been running Cinebench with this water solution in there. Our highest temperature looks like, and this is with the integrated GPU, looks like it is 84 degrees. And we just clicked off at 2505 points on the integrated GPU it running. Now the reason I'm doing this is I want to answer a question. Sometimes people say, well, how loud is the system? Well, now that the refrigerator that's 1.5 feet from us has cut off, let's see if we can hear the pump. Now this is running at full speed. Now the fans are also running. What do you think? Now, let me see if I can reposition while this thing is running that soapy water. Now this is wide open, mind you. Where is my phone? I gotta allow it. Okay, so there we go. I'm talking right now and I'm at about 60, 65, 57, something like that on the meter. Let's put it over here by the unit. $21, $23, what do you think? Can't see if this is making it on the camera or not. What do you think? Well, here we are, not quite 48 hours later. And I know what you say, how do we know this? Because you could just take a hat off and change shirts and just go right to it, we wouldn't know. Well, you just have to trust me. And speaking of trust, the mix I used here I found online, and I don't have a lot of trust for it. First of all, I'm not going to, don't ask me what it is because I won't comment on it. Watch the video, I tell you, I'm not going to tell you what it was. Because anytime someone won't tell me what's in something, I get a little bit suspicious. It reminds me of a video I did years ago. Do you remember, are any of you guys hunters? Are any of you guys, seriously? Well, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine said that her son, who was, still at home kind of thing, he was working on getting his degree, and he went on and did some great things with a college, one of the universities I went to. Anyway, he worked on their sports staff. So anyway, not Alabama. Yeah, not Alabama. Local school, small school. Anyway, he said, Mama, don't ruin my hunting clothes. You got to use this special soap. And so I did a video called Unscented. Spelled like pennies, scented, because people were being, I think, unfairly taken advantage of. He was convinced that the special clothes helped with the low light and the UV and had UV brighteners. And it's not like the people producing the soap were lying. We do put brighteners in soaps. We do. And I demonstrate that in that video. But what it's all about is convincing the consumer to pay lots of big money to get this particular product. And so I go through a process showing from beginning to end and verify, yes, it has UV brighteners in there. It's like bluing. Have you ever heard the expression blue-haired ladies? Well, ladies allegedly would take some of the clothing bluing that we'd use for cloths to take the yellow out. We'd put a little blue in there and it would make things look whiter. Well, we do put that kind of stuff, oftentimes UV reflectors, in our clothes to make our clothes look whiter and brighter, and that's great. But they wash out, and that's what I showed. So I just use a regular, unscented, uncolored, no dyes type of soap that has the UV in it, and I wash and I get the same results out of 2 old shirts that we do. Anyway, the material that went into this was purchased supposedly as a cleaner in Reddit, and all the people said, oh, it's a great deal, it's what it fixed my situation. It doesn't actually, it's very unclear what it does. Is it a corrosion inhibitor? Is it a detergent to remove film and soap scum, not soap scum, but bio scum off of your parts? It's just something in the name. You don't know what it is, but I can tell you what it is. It's over $1 US per milliliter. And I feel a little bit stupid, a little bit taken advantage of. I feel a little bit, I'm just not happy with the decision. It supposedly made it for this purpose, so I use it. I'm going to clean it, but I didn't use a high-priced product for my corrosion inhibitor. I'm enough engineer, I can do better than that. But I did want to go ahead and rinse the thing out, because in case there's some biocide aspect in it, I want it to kill off anything in there. The problem is they don't really say what it's for, do they? They just say, in fact, the instructions are unclear. If you go to the website, you look online at the big retailer, I won't say Amazon, but if you look wherever it's being sold and you look up, they'll say 24 to 48, and then they say it won't hurt for you to leave it in, but it's not intended to be left in. But if you read the bottle, you get a little different story off the bottle. I don't like that. It's just me personal. So I don't want to mention their name, because they might think I'm bad-mouthing them. I'm not. I just want you to think. Now, we're just going to drain this puppy down, and I'm going to show you a little video, show you how long it takes for you to get the air bubbles worked out. And it will take some time when we refill it back up. And so we fill it up pretty tall, and when it drinks it down, we'll add some more to it. But that's just the way it is. We're gonna clean this up. We're gonna straddle the mount, do the reverse of what we had, and fill her back up. And I'll hold my chemicals that I use off until I can do a little bit more research, and then if things work out, I'll tell you about it. Otherwise, hopefully we've got a very clean radiators and piping and all that now, and GPU and CPU and all that. And we'll clean all that stuff out, and that's where we're going to end the show. Well, we're going to drain it the same way we did the first time. I'm going to pull up my sleeves, and I just loosened this. Let me see if I can get my guy back up in here without getting in the way of the camera. And we're going to drain the front one first, if I can find it. There we go. We're going to drain the front one of these first. Let the water fall, and then we'll let water into our system by taking the top plug out. And there we go with it. See if my sticky tape still can lift out my plug. Yeah, see, there we go. Remember, I gave you that little tip. See if it'll focus. There we go. I guess too much background for that autofocus. But it's just that piece of tape and the plug, and that helps the water run out. Now, you know, we talked about this cart. It has caster brakes. So we've locked the caster brakes. We've set up the bottom kind of just like we did before. We just moved the bucket up a little further. And I didn't remember to lean this forward to make sure we get our water to flow down here. So we did that. We'll have to pretend like that never happened. All right, so there we've got that. I don't believe that's all the water, but now that we've got that, we'll do the other one. And pretty well much, we'll try these out using our engineered foil technique. You know, somebody will make a funnel shaped like something like this as an accessory. You watch and see. Now that's with both of the drain plugs pulled out of the bottom rad. Well, appreciate you watching. I had to come up with some kind of an ending for this thing because we just kind of went to the end and cropped off. We'll do the other bit on the additives if I do some more research on it, show you what I did. It's always up to you. You're the judge. Use your God-given gift of reason on this stuff. It's your life, your equipment, your stuff. You make your choice. So anyway, if you like the content, let me know. Hit the click like and subscribe button, notification bell, and that sort of thing, so you get notified with the content. You know, and the other reason you have to do this ending is I couldn't think of any cute way or to slickly make a reference to my coffee company and reminding you to buy some coffee without you noticing if I didn't put this ending on it. So anyway, we'll see you next time, people. We appreciate you here, whether you know it or not. We really do. We're not like some of the other people. We're just plain old folk, just like you. Old, and I do mean old folk. See ya. Bye.